curious girl named Diana. Diana always had a twinkle in her eye, as if she was searching for something extraordinary. One sunny afternoon, while playing in her backyard, Diana noticed something unusual. It was a magical glowing ring. With her heart pounding with excitement, Diana decided to pass through the ring. The moment Diana stepped through, she was transported to a magical world she had never imagined. Everywhere she looked, there were giant trees that towered into the clouds, rivers that glowed in vivid hues, and majestic floating castles that seemed to be made of starlight. As Diana wandered in awe, she met a funny and friendly talking squirrel named Lucy. Lucy had soft, bushy fur and a laughter that jingled like tiny bells. "Welcome, Diana," squeaked Lucy, hopping up and down. "I've been waiting for you. We've got an important quest." Diana, delighted to have Lucy as her companion, learned that the magical world was in trouble. The powerful light crystal had lost its magic, throwing the kingdom off balance. "We need to find and restore the light crystal," Lucy explained, "to bring peace and magic back to our land." Without hesitation, Diana agreed to help. Together, Diana and Lucy embarked on an adventure filled with wonders and challenges. They crossed a magical bridge that played enchanting tunes and led them to an ancient puzzle made of glowing lights. Diana, with her keen sense and Lucy's helpful hints, cleverly solved the puzzle, unlocking the path to the hidden cavern where the light crystal lay. With great care, Diana picked up the brilliant crystal. Instantly, the kingdom's magic was restored, and the world around them burst into vibrant life. The floating castles glowed brighter, the rivers sparkled more vividly, and the giant trees swayed with joy. Before it was time for Diana to return home, Lucy presented her with a small, glowing stone, a memento of their magical journey together. "Whenever you look at this stone," Lucy whispered, "remember the magic within you and that you're always welcome in our world." And with a heart full of wonder and magic, Diana returned through the magical ring to her backyard, knowing she had made a difference in another world and had a true friend in Lucy. And from that day on, the backyard seemed a little more magical, and Diana a little more curious. Diana visited a magical world to help the ugly duckling. She used her enchanted ring to travel from her room to the magical land. Today felt special as Diana sensed a new adventure. She put on the glowing ring and, in a swirl of colors, was transported to a magical world. In this enchanting place, Diana was greeted by a whimsical fairy. The fairy had wings that shimmered like a million tiny rainbows and a giggle that resonated like sweet chimes. "Welcome, Diana," said the fairy with a big smile. "Today, you get to be part of our fairy tale world." She waved her magic wand, and with a sparkle of magic, Diana became Cinderella's best friend. "But remember," the fairy said with a wink, "you can't tell Cinderella how the story ends." But this Cinderella wasn't the helpless girl from the stories. She had a playful sparkle in her eyes that Diana recognized. With Diana by her side, they were ready to face the not-so-nice stepsisters. Diana's playful nature couldn't resist the opportunity to play a few harmless pranks. Whenever the stepsisters sneered or looked down upon Cinderella, Diana used her quick thinking and wit to teach them lessons in humility. One day, she enchanted their mirrors to show funny faces every time they looked at themselves, and on another occasion, their shoes squeaked louder than squeaky toys as they walked. As the big ball got closer, Diana helped Cinderella get her dress ready, making it shine beautifully. They laughed together while adding the final details, making the dress look amazing. On the day of the ball, after the stepsisters left, the fairy godmother appeared. With a wave of her wand, she made Cinderella's dress sparkle and gave her shiny glass shoes. "You're ready now," she said, "but the magic ends at midnight." Cinderella arrived at the palace and stepped into the royal ballroom, her sparkling dress glowing in the light. Her glass shoes gleamed with every step. The palace was magnificent, and everyone stopped to admire her, amazed by her beauty. The prince spotted Cinderella immediately and was amazed by her. He danced with her all night long, while the stepsisters watched in jealousy, unable to even get close to the prince. As the clock struck midnight, all the magic started to disappear. Diana quickly brought the carriage to the palace door so Cinderella could hop in and they could escape in time. In her rush, Cinderella lost one of her glass shoes on the palace steps. The prince was heartbroken and, the next day, ordered the palace servants to try the glass shoe on every young woman in the kingdom. When they arrived at Cinderella's house, the stepsisters didn't want her to try the shoe, so they locked her in her room. The king's servants tried the shoe on the stepsisters, but their feet were too big. As they left disappointed, Diana stopped them and asked, "Did you try the shoe on a lovely girl named Cinderella?" The servants shook their heads and said, "No, we didn't." The servants entered Cinderella's house and asked to see her. When Cinderella tried on the shoe, it fit perfectly. The stepsisters were shocked when Cinderella showed them the other shoe. The servants were so happy and invited Cinderella to the palace to see the prince. Diana slipped the magic ring onto her finger and returned to her room, while Cinderella and her prince lived happily together forever. The end. Diana found a magical ring that transported her to an enchanted world for an incredible adventure. She discovered the ring connects her to stories from books she reads. With the ring safely tucked away and her curiosity growing, Diana is ready for another magical journey. Diana took the ring out of a drawer. Since she last used it, the ring had mysteriously shrunk, now fitting her finger like a regular ring. She had hidden it, saving it for the right moment. Gazing at its glow, she wondered about the magical places it might take her. The ring always transported her to magical worlds from books she had read. After her last adventure, Diana suspected a pattern. Recently, she had read The Frog Prince, The Ugly Duckling, and Cinderella. Smiling brightly, she eagerly placed the ring on her finger. Closing her eyes, Diana focused as everything began to spin. When the motion stopped, she opened her eyes to a beautiful place. Green fields, rivers sparkling under the sun, and vibrant flowers. She looked around, knowing her next adventure had just begun. Suddenly, a bright light appeared, and a serene fairy with delicate wings stood before her. "Welcome, Diana," the fairy said. "The ring brought you here for a mission. You'll transform into a character from this story to help, but don't reveal its ending." The fairy waved her wand, and Diana transformed into a white duck. Looking at her reflection in the water, she saw her webbed feet and wings. Though clumsy, she felt determined to fulfill her mission. Diana wandered, ready to help wherever she was needed. Soon, she heard laughter and found ducks teasing a smaller, gray-feathered duckling. He stood alone, sad and defeated. "Look at him," one jeered. "So ugly. He doesn't even look like us." Diana knew he was the ugly duckling, destined for a brighter future. "Hey," Diana called, stepping forward. "Leave him alone. He hasn't done anything to you." Startled by her courage, the ducks scattered, muttering. The ugly duckling looked at Diana gratefully, though sadness lingered in his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered softly. "But it doesn't matter," the duckling sighed. "I'll never be like them. I'm too ugly to fit in." Diana placed a comforting wing on him. "True beauty comes from within," she said gently. "Being different is what makes the world special. Don't forget that." As the sun set, Diana realized she had to return home to have something to eat and rest. "I'll be back tomorrow," she promised with a smile. Before the duckling could reply, she was magically transported back to her room, already thinking about how to help him the next day. The following morning, Diana ate quickly and slipped the ring on again. Back at the pond, she found the ugly duckling. Day after day, she helped him find food, protected him from dangers like a sly fox, and told him stories to inspire him to keep going. Some things take time to reveal themselves, Diana said. But when it happens, it will be wonderful. Slowly, the duckling grew more confident, though doubts still surfaced. I don't know if there's a place for me in this world, he said one day. You'll find it, Diana assured him. Walking to the edge of the pond, she added, sometimes what we want most is closer than we realize. You just have to keep moving forward. The duckling gave her one last look before swimming away on his journey. Days later, Diana returned to the pond, but it was empty. In the distance, she saw a group of swans gliding across the water. Among them was a majestic white swan, the ugly duckling transformed. Smiling, Diana returned home, knowing she had helped him find his true self. Diana felt her mission was complete. Back in her room, she removed the ring and smiled, imagining the ugly duckling's happy future. She was happy knowing she had helped him along his journey.